Hello, my name is Femi Obagun, and I'm an under 40 CEO.
The African Renaissance. The concept that the African people and nation shall overcome the current challenges confronting the continent and achieve cultural, scientific, and economic renewal is here, with young men and women taking the lead. Some call them the new school heroes. We call them under 40 CEOs.
Onward Stationery Stores is a limited liability company formed in 1953 by Chief M. Obagun. He started trading paper just after leaving school, at first buying locally before he began wholesale imports. Whenever he's in the mood and feels like recanting the story, one will know that the first type of paper he imported was NCR from a Norwegian company, and this little transaction is what really started the journey of OSS. Today, his son Femi Obagun is now the majority shareholder in the firm and runs the establishment as the managing director. With revenues in excess of 2 billion naira last year, this soft-spoken gentleman is only just getting started. Welcome to Under 40 CEOs, Mr. Femi Obagun.
Thank you very much.
In 1953, your father launched Onward Stationery Stores, and 20 years later, in 1973, he launched Onward Paper Mills, which is noted for producing the very popular and legendary Onward notebooks. Now, today, you're the managing director of Onward Stationery Stores. How does it feel to be running such a company with a rich heritage?
It's kind of daunting, as I was saying, sometimes. To be part of a legacy that's been that long, and it's almost like an institution on its own right in the Nigerian business scene. But at the same time, it's also exciting, because it obviously means you yourself might have one or two ideas about what you want to do with such a legacy, and you're more or less given the platform to act out on some of the ideas you might have. So yeah, look at it from that point of view as well.
Tell me more about Onward Stationery Stores and some of your products.
Onward Stationery Stores is primarily a paper trading organization. What we just do primarily is to buy and sell paper. We import papers that I will call or define as semi-finished products. We have about maybe 20 to 30 different types, and we primarily sell to wholesalers and maybe large-scale printers. I could give you a typical example. One of our papers is maybe called art paper. We bring it in huge sheets, 24 by 36 inches. And those sheets come in packets or rims, 250, per packet, 500 per rim. So its paper is very light, but by the time you put them in rims, it's obviously quite heavy. We bring them in large containers. I'm sure on your way here, you saw quite a few containers being offloaded. And we sell those papers, or sell art paper to maybe a printer that might want to, print something like your magazine, for example, Fab. That's art paper. Well, you must know about art paper.
I know.
Exactly, there we go. So you're making my explanation a lot easier.
Yeah.
Or calendars, so that's what we do. And depending on the application, there are different types of papers. Okay. And we stock almost about, I believe, about 20 or maybe 20 plus different types of papers, depending on the allocation, on the application.
The paper industry is such a large one. Now, comparing your statistics from 1953, when the company launched, and when the company also controlled a huge chunk of the market, how much market share would you say you've lost, and how much do you still control?
Well, I can't give you the quantifiable data in terms of this is exactly how much we're controlling at the moment. But a lot of people have come on the scene. There's a lot of Indian competitors, for example. And to be honest, I think some of the largest paper importers today are probably Asian by nature. Onward is still a major player. We have a big name, and we're still quite popular. But in terms of market share, I mean, I would say maybe we are still at least top 4, top 5.
Your business remains a multi-million-dollar enterprise, and every enterprise seeks not only to retain its market share, but to increase over time. Now, what is your strategy for regaining your market share and place of prominence within the industry?
Be more competitive, understand the market better, be more innovative, don't keep it as just a simple buying and selling business model, but maybe approach your customers, try to understand what they need, try to understand their needs, and work towards that. Work towards, satisfying needs that they might have now, and things that they don't even see it for themselves at the moment. Okay. I'll give you a good example. One of the products we bring in is called folding box board. Okay. And usually we bring the most popular grammage. Again, you understand what I mean?
Of course.
Okay, it's 300 grams. Okay. Now we are supplying grammages of 275 grams to some of our biggest printers right now, and they're enjoying it because even though it might seem as if we're supplying lower grammage, what they're losing in grammage, they're getting a thickness, which is far more important. Okay. Now a lot of printers don't know this, so it's our job to educate them and to also supply them, or offer this sort of solutions that might actually end up saving them money, which is what we try and do.
Beautiful.
This is Under 40 CEOs.
Femi is also publisher of the Artisan Lagos, a publication he is ever so passionate about as he seeks to solve a major problem in the country. You're the publisher of Artisan Lagos. Now, share with me what you've achieved with that phenomenal product.
Well, Artisan Lagos, the whole idea was we're supposed to fill that space of providing credible information for, more importantly, credible artisans. People that will be proud of what they are doing and will, quite frankly, not give a lot of their customers headaches. We ran into one or two issues. Cost of the business as well was quite high. And more importantly, there were not enough artisans that we felt we could certify, to be honest, So what we did was we took a hiatus. We are currently in the process of just looking at one or two other strategies. And we still believe that it's something that's very necessary. Because if you think about it, most times when you want to look for an artisan, what do? You call, hey, do you know this plumber? Do you know this electrician? So we still feel there's value to be built there.
You bagged your bachelor's degree in financial economics from the University of Essex. Now, what key financial lessons do CEOs need to learn to enable them survive and thrive in business?
Well, that's a very broad question, but I can tell about my personal experience. What I think I've learned, or what I've learned about surviving in Nigeria, is just understanding that, there are some basic things that you should always remember. You buy, in terms of what I do personally, you make sure you don't buy too high, you keep your costs low, you try and make sure you have a sustainable margin, and most importantly, you try and make sure your customers are happy, because that sets you on the path for sustainability.
Now, judging from your tweets, I can tell that you're quite passionate about Nigeria and Nigerian politics. Now, what policies do you think need to be in place for a business like yours to thrive?
Well, at the risk of undermining exactly what I do, the truth of the matter is I believe Nigeria needs to position itself from being a net importer of paper to being a net exporter at best, or at least making sure there's import substitution. The government needs to look at ways that we can encourage paper production locally instead of buying papers from around the world and effectively giving jobs to other people. That is the future.
This is Under 40 CEOs.
Femi's Onward Stationery Stores is not only to be seen as a value-creating, reliable paper supplier, they also aim to build relationships with customers sustained by understanding and responding to their needs, whilst aiming for a mutually beneficial position always. Femi also believes that a company is only as strong as its people. Thus, the proper welfare of his staff is also part mission and part strategic objective. He is determined to not only preserve the legacy left to him, but also expand it by increasing and enforcing its market share. Now, part of your vision and mission statement reads, "We also believe that a company is only as strong as its people. Thus, the proper welfare of our staff is also part mission and part strategic objective." Now, what's your leadership style and how do you keep your staff motivated?
I believe in giving people a chance, and I believe when I do that, it encourages other people as well, like the other staff members. Good example, the guy you just met outside, Ayo. He is very good at IT. He started as a loader, one of the people loading papers. Wow. And people always think, oh, but how come he's not your secretary? But he was given the opportunity. He decided to brush himself up, took courses, and it's our job to encourage such. And that's what we believe and what we try and practice, giving people a chance.
It says online that you're a lover of good times, and I see you travel quite a bit. Now, how has travel and interacting with diverse cultures added value to your person and to your business?
I mean, it enriches you as a person in general, not just in terms of business. And I think traveling also maybe lets you see things from a different point of view, different perspectives. And it's good to go around and see what other people are doing, and it encourages you to maybe, or just gives you different ideas, I suppose. So in terms of how it's encouraged, or how it's influenced how or added value in terms of business, I guess just different ideas, that things can be done. For example, one of the key things that people will say here is about not being able to produce paper in Nigeria is the climate, or something that, we need long fiber pulp, rather, that is usually produced in colder climates. Brazil, Indonesia, Thailand, India even, some parts of India have similar climates to Nigeria. So why is it not, if they can produce paper, then why can't we produce paper here? I mean, I'm not saying it's not without its fair share of challenges, producing paper in Nigeria, but at least knowing that, or that little information, gives you the possibility that it's something that can be done, yeah.
This is Under 40 CEOs.
Now, you've been on Twitter since August of 2010, and so far you have about 59 tweets. And on your Facebook page, it also says you hate small talk, so I can relate to why you're not on Twitter quite as often. Now, you then go on to list on Facebook a number of things you like to talk about, including your insecurities and fear. Now, what keeps you up at night?
Well, I won't say keeps me up at night exactly, but I know what you're trying to say, I'll answer the question. I mean, it scares me that I have all these ideas and all these things I want to do, and I might not be able to achieve them. So I guess in a nutshell, not achieving my potential, or not really making the most of the opportunities I've been given scares me.
Most successful CEOs are never ashamed to confess that they have failed in the past. Will Femi be an exception? Now, have you ever failed as a leader and as a businessman?
As a businessman, I mean, we all make mistakes. I know I've made my fair share. Maybe sometimes, bringing in wrong product, not doing enough market research, all sorts of things. I mean, if I decided to go into all the times I failed, I might be here all day.
What was the last business challenge that you encountered, and how did you manage to resolve it?
Yeah, the last business, well, still an ongoing challenge. It's not entirely resolved yet. But because of the liquidity issue in the country in general, for a business like ours that's very dependent on forex allocation, we're finding it very difficult to pay our suppliers and so on and so forth. So at the moment, we're actually in the process of looking for new banks, maybe smaller banks that might be able to get forex easier. I mean, it's just one of those things in terms of kind of challenges one runs into. Challenges always come, and we'll always be able to respond to them.
What values are important to you and to your firm?
I believe everyone that interacts with us should be better off. As a matter of fact, it's one of my prayer points that any of our stakeholders must be better off by interacting with us. So whether it's the customers or whether it's the staff or whoever it is that is becoming part of the Onward family, we believe by the time they leave us or by the time they walk away from any kind of transaction they're doing with us, we should have added some kind of value, or and coming from that, that's how we try and interact in our day-to-day activities, and I suppose that's what's most important to us, adding value.
This is Under 40 CEOs.
What are the key skill sets a CEO needs to acquire in managing people and leading them aright?
Empathy. Understanding where someone is coming from is most important, I think. Having a good ear, listening properly, not just having a good listening face, but also the ear as well, And I think that's most important, because if you can truly understand someone, you can truly understand their position or understand their problems, and then that sets you up to be able to deal with them better. So I think empathy is the most important thing, yeah.
What's the current business structure of your firm?
So there's an MD, there's a finance director, there are senior managers, there are managers, there are supervisors, there are loaders, and that's it, yeah.
What is your biggest letdown in your career so far?
Well, I won't exactly call it a letdown. It's just, at this point in time, I thought maybe we'll be doing something else as opposed to simply trading, which is what we've been doing for the past 50-something years. And I joined Onward 10 years ago, and that's what, 14 years ago. And that's what we're still doing, So it will come. It's just taking a bit longer than I had anticipated, So that will probably be my biggest letdown, yeah.
Now, what do you envision is the future of Onward Stationery Stores?
Backward integration. We must start looking at ways to produce some of what we import right now locally. Might not be everything, but at least we need to start.
This is Under 40 CEOs.
Femi has agreed that he is a lover of good times, but I need to know how he spends his time and resources. I have a few quick fire questions for you. Are you ready? What do you love to eat?
Dodo.
How would you describe your style?
Comfortable, I suppose.
What other CEOs do you currently look up to?
Elon Musk. I believe he's a true superhero.
What are your favorite brands to wear?
I don't think of brands per se. I just look at what makes me, what I'm comfortable in, what looks good, and I buy. It depends.
What's your favorite car to drive?
I'm not a car person, to be honest, so I don't think of, so long as you can get me from point A to B, the condition is working, and it's kind of comfortable, I'm good,
What's your favorite travel destination?
I like Cape Town.
Your favorite book of all time?
The Iliad. Oh my, exactly. It's not a book, but it constantly, so yeah.
What book are you reading right now?
The Tale of Genji.
And finally, I'd like to ask, what makes you happy?
I like thinking of something and executing it. That makes me happy. That gives me joy.
So thank you for coming on Under 40 CEOs, Mr. Femi Obagun.
It's been a pleasure. My name is Femi Obagun, and you can be an Under 40 CEO too.